Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wharfie Wednesdays, episode number 4, I believe. Wharfie Wednesdays on Freo Faithful. And Zac, he's away. He's in making a bit of a early season trip to Bali. So you'll know this guy on the outside. Noah, welcome to Freo Faithful.
Thanks, Matt. It's good to be
kidding,
on.
I'm kidding.
I tell you what, the bin tangs after round 3 is a big call from Zac. Like, that's a very, very early season trip. So I hope he's enjoying his 2 weeks off.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Next week as well. But plenty to get through, of course. First win of the season against the D's on Saturday. I should know the margin. It was 48 points, 118 to 70, 17 goals, 16 to 10 goals, 10. A bit of a wonky performance, I suppose. 2 quarters, 2 of the best quarters we've seen in quite a while. But 2 we fell off a bit. The right side of the broadcast getting all the goals that day. So which is the side I was on, which is quite nice. But what did you make of the game? Obviously, you've been on the podcast on Monday, but what did you make of the game? Just quickly sum it up.
I've said it. I said this on the podcast. I thought it was a very healthy performance. Like, we played 2 quarters essentially, and it wasn't dominant by any means, but the quarters we did play well were very, very dominant, and we just blew them out the water. I mean, the game was pretty much won by quarter time, even if you had that scare in the second quarter that we might choke. It was pretty much done in the first quarter. So, I think there are enough signs where we can be happy. Like Isaiah Dudley's awesome start to the season continued. I thought a different midfield mix with Caleb Sarong not having much impact stepped up to the plate, which was a positive. And then there are some guys in key positions, which we'll talk about a bit later, whose spot in the team has been questioned. So enough positives, enough negatives, but I'm pretty happy overall.
Yeah, good to see Brayshaw back in form as well after the Geelong game. I think he ended up with about 39 touches, I believe. That's the number I've come up with the top of my head. Yeah, 39 touches, 1 goal. Only 1 clearance, interestingly, but I feel like didn't spend a lot of time directly in the middle. I think we spent with Bolton in there a lot more, and probably had his best game as a Docker, did Shea Bolton. We'll talk about the Morabito medal in a sec, but I think you said on the fan cams as well, it's a good enough win to keep us happy, to keep us, happy going to work on Monday, but probably not enough to get us carried away as of yet. The D's, no one's expecting the D's to do overly well this season. No one's expecting our upcoming opponents to do very well either. In fact, a lot of people probably would have them as the spoon favourites at the moment. But and of course Chris Sherry as well making his debut. You called it. I think just before the teams came out, but massive shock when Chris Sherry got announced. I thought Murray maybe comes back in. I think maybe it's a Banfield job. It just seems like what JL would do. It seems the most obvious pick. And out of all the draftees, Sherry probably the last one I thought would have got the call up, but there you go. And he had a great game. I think he ended up with about 23 in the end. I think 23 touches.
He's 20 half forward, which is impressive given the role he was playing.
Yeah, that's right as well. And I think he should have snagged a goal. I think he might have had one that just went wide late. But it just proves how good our recruiting's been, because that's 2 years in a row where our SSP pick, who really is no one had heard of before they'd joined the club, has gone on and Dudley's become a regular now, and maybe we'll see the same with Sherry. So without further ado, I reckon we move on to the Morabito medal votes. Get up there now. So that is not the one we're after.
Is that on? There we go.
Because that's the one we're looking for. So Morabito medals. So top 3 was the same across all of them. So yourself and Druzy went with Bolton 3, Brayshaw 2, Tracy 1. Zac and I went with the same. The fans have swapped Brayshaw and Bolton around, giving 3 to Brayshaw for sort of comeback game, and then Bolton getting the 2. So I think it was always going to be these 3, wasn't it? It wasn't. I mean, there was a few that you could have gave it to, a few sort of unsung heroes that played their roles well, but I think it was always going to be these 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Druzy advocated a little bit for Brayshaw 3, but he did watch the game in the pub and then rewatched it the day after and said, "Nah, you're probably right." We had a bit of a discussion about whether Dudley snuck in ahead of Tracy, but just, sort of the 4-quarter effort from Tracy. I mean, 10 marks and 10 score involvements is a pretty ridiculous sort of stat line for a key forward. And I saw the complete fan vote. 4th was Carl Warner, surprisingly. and 5th was Chris Sherry. So a couple of guys you wouldn't expect getting up there. But yeah, it was pretty unanimous at the end of the day. I think Dudley was among those as well. So yeah, I thought they were the 3 clear best on ground. And it's just good to see our superstars firing at the end of the day, because last year we had a fair few games where a guy like Corey Wagner was our best player, or Nathan O'Driscoll early in the season. And while we like our role players stepping up, we aren't going to be a very, very good team if our superstars aren't playing well week in, week out.
Yeah, I think back to that St Kilda game where Wagner probably gets all 6 votes, but that's St Kilda. If we were running this vote, during that St Kilda game, we probably just cancel the vote. We probably just
it'd just be 9 Corey Wagner and then just piss off.
Yeah, forget it. But Shea Bolton 2 goals and 32 touches. Tracy with 4 goals, as he said, and Brayshaw with 39 touches and a goal. I think we get up the full leaderboard now. Of course, we're only 2 weeks into the season, but Jackson holds firm at first due to getting 3 votes from everyone in round 1. Bolton, Brayshaw, Dudley, Strong, Tracy. So no one's featured twice as of yet. Do get the feeling that's probably going to change on Saturday. You'd imagine maybe even all 3 might be those that have already featured. But that is a Morabito medal. Once again, I love the medal, love the little medal you've created there. I think that's
that's our medal, mate. It's not
genius, right there. It's awesome. But I think we'll move on to a little bit of media watch. Before I actually do that, we might have a look a little bit more we've got coming up on the show. So as I said, just media quickly,
watch. Before we move on from the Morabito medal, I can confirm that through the week, Drews and I got some intel that the Morabito medal has found its way back to Anthony Morabito. He does know about this medal. I think someone in our DMs contacted his wife or something. We're not going to reveal who did that. But Anthony Morabito is aware of this medal.
That is awesome. But all right. So if you're watching the show, then Anthony Morabito, then we love you, and you're still the hero amongst those of us watching this channel, and those of us that love the club. But we'll have a look at what we've got coming up on the show. So of course, media watch, plenty to get through, and particularly with the Patrick Voss incident, or multiple Patrick Voss incidents. Everyone hates him. Everyone hates him now. But I don't mind it. It's like Ballantyne all over again. So it's nice to have someone that the rest of the league just despises, and we'll get onto that a little bit later. We're also going to have a look at the Tigers. They're 0-2 to start the season, and I think their fans probably aren't the most optimistic coming into this game. We'll get onto them a little bit later on as well. We'll also have our predicted changes. No direct injuries like they have been the first 2 games, so there's no one that we know is coming out. But there'll still be, I'm sure, a fair few changes to come. And we give our match prediction as well. So we start it off now. So as I've said before, you're always, when it comes to footy fandom, you're either winning the flag or you're winning the spoon. There's no in between. After the Geelong game, we weren't going anywhere. But after the Melbourne game, I've seen some takes that look. I mean, not to put these players down, but they're definitely out there takes, and maybe jumping the gun a little bit. So I've seen someone claim that they think Murphy Reid is the greatest handballer that they've ever seen. So
who said this?
Yeah, this is just this is what happens when you hang out in the Reddit thread. When you hang out in Fremantle FC, you see some, because the week before I saw someone say it's never going to happen. Is I'm going to die before we win a flag. It might be the same person. Let's be real. It
probably is. In all fairness, right? Murphy Reid's obviously not the best handballer the competition's ever seen. Like, that's too far. Yeah, you could make a case that he's one of the best handballers in the league. I mean, that's not an outrageous take. But the best even's, pushing it.
I should say. So someone says the decision-making, the weighting, the precision, the 2-advantage raw elite. Look, Gary Ablett Jr. was the best up to now. But that was speed and precision. I don't recall seeing the patient wait for the best option and then executing under pressure that I see from Bruce. Now, obviously, we know he's going to be an elite player for years to come. I actually think he's probably better by foot than he is by hand. I think there was one moment on Saturday where I think he's probably about 60 metres out. Us fans, we like to think that we know what the players should be doing, and so there's an option here. You got this player out here. I don't know who he spotted. It might have been O'Driscoll or something. It wasn't one of our main targets up there, but he spotted him. About a 35-metre set shot, and it's gone through. I'm still not sure how we saw it or how we managed to, where the vision came from there. Yeah, just a special talent, but maybe jumped the gun a bit too much on that one. The other one I've seen is someone saying that Tracy, there's always some good takes, isn't there? That Tracy is or it could be, I don't know, was it could or would become the best key forward in the game, and by the end of the season, might be the best key forward in the game. Obviously, I think it'll be top 5 potentially, but Ben King's had such a good start of the season. These are a bit hard to displace at the moment. But I think what makes Tracy such a good player is the fact that King's the sort of guy that just doesn't lead the forward 50, bit of an old school forward. But I do like Tracy. Tracy, we've seen him push back a fair bit, push up to the wing. Still bagging in 50 goals a season. Well, I don't think he's kicked 50, but close to that.
That's what I was going to say, right? Like, Tracy does more for Freo than Ben King does for Gold Coast. Like, Ben King is Gold Coast's focal point, and he's obviously super important, and he's the best set shot in the league by a fair way. But the ability of Tracy to start on the goal line and push up to halfback and be involved in so many different links of play, like 10 score involvements for a key forward is not normal. Like, no. That game of the weekend he had wasn't even one of his best games he's ever had, yet it was just still so influential. Like, any other game, he probably could have been called best on ground with that stat line and the amount of influence he had. So, yeah, I think I don't disagree with that take. I think for how important he is to a team, Josh Tracy has the ability to, by the end of the season, be the best key forward in the comp. He isn't right now. I reckon that's Ben King. But by the end of the season, he's obviously got the potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Potentially, I still think, at this stage, I'd still back him in for an All-Australian at the end of the year. I think. Has he got one yet? I don't think he has he?
No, he hasn't. No, not even a squad, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, he'll definitely get one in the next few years, if not this season. He's still only 24 as well, I think, as well. So, still, most key forwards not hitting their prime till, Jezza had a career best year last year at 32. So, we've still got a lot of good footy to see from Josh Tracy. Now, this one came out this morning. So, 3AW, which is obviously radio in Melbourne, one of their, he might be their mornings host, I think, but had his best 23 of the 21st century. No Fife, no Pavlich. It's a bit of a disgrace, isn't it?
Well, a disgrace to put it lightly. I'm just getting the team up now because I did see this earlier today. In fact, I'll get this up on the screen.
Yeah, it is
in a second.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. Is when people say, like, someone puts out a best 23, whatever it is, across any sport, people go, "Where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy?" It's like, well, you can't have 35 players in a best 23, can you? So who comes out? But I looked at this and I thought, there's a lot of guys in here. I mean, a lot of champions in this list, but there's a few that I think, I just nowhere near the level of Fife and Pavlich. So Brown at centre half forward. I think
I'm not disagreeing
you'd take Pavlich over Brown, wouldn't you?
Oh, I mean, it's a coin toss. Like, I'm not gonna rant and rave. The Fife one pissed me off. I'll be honest. That was the one that got under my skin. I don't care what someone on 3AW said about, their best 22 from 2000 and whatnot. But Matthew Pavlich I can live with. Like, because Jonathan Brown, Buddy's better than Pav. Jonathan Brown, you can make the case he's better than Pav. And Nick Rewalt, you can make the case he's better than Pav. So there are all cases to be made there. So they're all fine. I refuse to believe that not one of Sam Mitchell, Dane Swan, or Jimmy Bartell, or Marcus Bontempelli can't be left out of the side for Nat Fife. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Bont, you could definitely make the argument that's better than Fife, even though Bont has no Brownlows. He should have, he probably should have two, if we're being honest. But yeah, Dane Swan, I mean, I don't know. I don't recall Dane. I mean, 2011 was the first season I watched footy, and that was, I think he won the Brownlow that year, but I don't recall Dane Swan.
No, he was a gun. I'd have Fife ahead of Swan, definitely. Yeah. But again, I'm trying to think who the weakest link is. Sam Mitchell's 3 flags probably gets him over the line. At Hawthorn. I mean, Dane Swan won a flag too, but he probably is the weakest link there. Even Jimmy Bartell, Fife is better than Jimmy Bartell. I'm sorry. Yeah,
and I suppose the other thing is none of these guys win a flag if they play at Freo, so it's a bit hard to.
Yeah, exactly. Fife would have won a flag if he was
as a metric. Yeah, I think if we want another former Freo player, Neil should probably be in here as well. To be perfectly honest, with 2 Brownlows.
I was going to say, yeah.
You probably have Neil and Fife maybe over Swan and Bartel. Bartel probably one of the best big game players there is, but yeah, I think there's a bit of out of sight, out of mind here, if we're being honest, from Freo W in Melbourne, which you can't really blame them for. But yeah, if it were up to me, we'd see Morabito at back pocket or forward pocket or something, wherever we want. Yeah, just 20. We'll wish for a team of Morabitos. That's all we want, isn't it? Yeah. But we'll move on to one of the biggest stories out of the club over the weekend and since then. That's, of course, Patrick Voss. So he's become the league's public enemy number one, apparently. Of course, he got involved in two different incidents. First being pointing out Harris, or he was giving Harrison Petty a little rub on the head, on his hair, or more lack thereof. And yeah, it's not the greatest of moves from Patrick Voss. And I think they're actually, if you see in that clip, I think Tracy and Sukowski are sort of basically, they're instructing Voss, just give it a rest. I think they're I think all the leaders in the team were a bit sick of what Voss was doing.
They were embarrassed
On Saturday night. Yeah. And we got to remember, I think Voss has kicked, one goal in the first two games of the season. So I think definitely does need to pull his head in a little bit on that one. But have people been overreacting to it? Maybe. I don't know. But it is. I do find it quite enjoyable that we've got our own Toby Green or Braden Maynard now that everyone just absolutely despises. So I got a couple takes here that's been said over at certain, on radio and TV and all that. So Adam Simpson, of course, former Eagles coach, he said on SN, "Is there an award for the biggest idiot in the competition?" Can I say that on here? So Simo coming in with the attack there.
Well, I think we'd be a bit one-eyed to say that Pat Voss isn't an idiot, but he's our idiot. He is an absolute muppet, but we love him for it, and we need a muppet in the team. I'm quite strong on my stance about this Pat Voss thing. I reckon the crying taunt was too far, should apologise for it, has apologised for it, wasn't right, crossed the line, but we move on. The head pat is one of the all-time great overreactions from AFL media and the AFL. He is he's patted his bald patch on the back of his head. I'm sorry, but shock to men, you might lose your hair. And if you get the piss taken out of you for it, then I don't know. I just don't see a lot wrong with it. So, yeah, look, I reckon that was one of the great overreactions. But the crying taunt, I can understand the fine and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I would say Patrick Voss is only 23, I think, or 22. So if he thinks his hair's not going to look like Harrison Petty one day, then...
if Pat Voss goes bald, that will be one of the all-time great karma sort of things in this fan base.
Yeah, he probably needs to. Yeah, he probably needs to realise that. But yeah, as I said, plenty of other takes from it. It's probably one of the only times we get into Victorian media like we have. We've got Jared Waitley labelling it the Dud Act. Interesting. David King. We all love David King.
I like David King, like wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, well, I like David King when we win, but that's.
I think he gives us fair criticism.
Yeah.
I might be a rare Freo fan that likes him, but,
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I think there was one point last year where we'd won 8 in a row, then we lost to Sydney, and he acted like we'd just lost the last 9 in a row, and I think that probably got on a lot of people's nerves. Yeah, it's a bad look there. I won't be thrilled with this. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of fair criticism around it, but yeah, I think I was looking at the Reddit threads on Saturday after the game, and he was pretty much every top comment was Voss is this, Voss is that, Voss is that. So yeah, and this take here, so it was major overreaction of the week. No one else has been called out for the same stuff. Yeah, I think you probably find a lot of different instances like that if you were to zoom in on every moment of every game. You'd probably find you'd definitely find a lot, not a lot worse, but you'd find a lot of stuff that's pretty line ball. There, so we're going to.
The thing is, right, the crying taunt hasn't even been like the main thing in this whole saga from the media and the AFL's point of view. It's been the head pat for some reason. Like there was a 100-meter penalty given away on the other side of the head pat on Friday night in the Adelaide Bulldogs game. Are we going to start fining Maurice Rioli for... Sorry, was it Maurice or Daniel? Are we going to start fining Maurice Rioli for patting Daniel Rioli's head when he runs him down in a tackle? Like, or are we just going to have some common sense here? Like, I just see so little wrong with that. It's not funny.
a lot of dangerous precedents getting set over the weekend, because the other one, I think it was Ben Keys at Adelaide, where he's telling that fan in the crowd, just hold on to the ball because we've got to set up in defence.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, but it's a tough rule to set, isn't it? You say, fans aren't allowed to. Fans are going to get kicked out if they hold the ball for longer than 2 seconds.
I thought that was ridiculous from the fan, though. Like, come on.
Well, I think it's like heat of the moment. I think if I was sitting on centre wing first row, and Caleb Strong says to me, hold the ball for 3 seconds, I'm probably going to do it, like in the heat of the moment.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, Ben Keys did tell him. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I said we're going a bit off topic here, but you can't say, kick the fan out. I don't exactly like the way that it's all going, but no one likes Pat Voss. That's the should have put that in the title, to be perfectly honest. But
probably.
Yeah, I think when we move on now to the Tigers, so they had about a 68-point loss, I think, off the top of my head, to Gold Coast on Saturday at the MCG. They're not looking like going too far this year. The Tigers, they had I think 5 wins last season, 2 of those coming against the Eagles. I'd start the season I had them as my spoon predictors. I thought a lot of their, because a lot of guys that had been drafted for last year, maybe a bit of second season syndrome that we'd see out of those guys, or what they call it in the US, sophomore slump, I think they call it in the US. Not a lot of people expecting the Tigers to go too far this season. And I was actually listening to I think the Tiger Cast last night. They're not overly confident about this game. They're in the typical rebuild attitude of, as long as we get good minutes into the kids, and as long as we see promise out of those guys, then we'll take it. And as long as we don't get flogged by more than 60, but the weather's probably going to help them with that. And the fact that we haven't been able to play a 4-quarter game yet. But I think we'll probably get up the Tigers side from that game against the Suns. So my first thought looking at this Tigers side is plenty of stars across the... No, I'm kidding. Not
precise, mate.
Not a lot of stars in this. Not a lot of stars in this team. And 2 of them that you could consider might be playing. So no Curvis, he's out for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I think. So they're going to have Samson Ryan in the ruck, who's played, I think he played 2 games last season, I think 8 the season before that, so hasn't been seen at AFL level a lot.
I don't know if Samson Ryan's going to to get the call up. I reckon it might be Hayes Brown.
Could be actually, yeah. Is he? That'd be a debut, wouldn't it? He hasn't played.
Played for the Wildcats, just not Richmond.
That's right, yeah. And they were also saying McKelty Lafau, who's top right on the bench there, could also sort of be second ruck, and I think he's about 195 centimetres or something. So if he's coming up against either Jackson or Darcy, he's probably going to have a bit of a tough time.
195.
I don't think he might be 190.
He's that tall.
Yeah,
I'll have a look.
I think he might be 198 actually. But 195. Tracy's only 195, I think.
But he's 195. Yeah, there you go. That just strikes me as taller than I thought. He seems undersized to me.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking, like sort of a Gunston type. That was the sort of role he's playing. But no, apparently he's going to spend a bit of time on the ruck on Saturday, which or Saturday whenever the game's played. We don't even know at this stage. But that's I suppose one thing we've got to look. How can we capitalise on the fact that it could be, with all due respect to those guys, maybe the worst ruck duo in the league at the moment with those 2. To be, is it? There'll probably be people say, is it a chance to bring Cox in? Maybe it is. If Cox is able to play more than Darcy, maybe you do that just because you think, well, we're going to beat them, we're going to wear them out. Let's see that argument to it as well. But how do you think we sort of capitalise on it?
Well, my thinking is that it is going to be a horrific deck with the weather incoming. Just play all 3 rucks, because do we really want to be risking Sean Darcy? With more game time than we need to in the team? And do we want to be risking Mason Cox as well, who, I'm going to be honest, he's not like the healthiest player. He has been quite injury prone across his career at Collingwood. So do you just play all 3 and just sort of split the game time? Have Jackson as your main guy, but you also don't want to overdo Jackson on that deck. So I just think we could stretch him. Playing all 3 might be overkill in some people's eyes, but I just think for a game-based thing, I'm not saying it's our best option week in, week out. I just think it could be an option this week, because they do actually have nobody. We could just bully them there all day and give our mids first use. I mean, they're obviously missing Nankervis. I think Hayes Brown will probably come in. That would be my take on that. And then Tom Lynch. Do you have an idea on who's coming in? Yeah, Lynch is out.
Yeah, well, they got a few. They drafted a few key forwards last year. They got, I'm not sure, Jonty Fall, Sims as well. Yeah, Jonty Fall was another one.
Nathan Broad's also out. Worth noting.
Is he as well? There you go.
Yeah, that came out yesterday.
Player, Nathan Broad. So they are going to be extremely weak on Saturday, Richmond. You look to their midfield. So Taranto, Hopper. Taranto, I think if he was playing at a big club, he'd be seen as not one of the best midfielders, but he'd be seen as a premium midfielder.
Well, good club, because Richmond are as big as it gets.
Well, yeah, good. Yeah. Did I say big? I thought I said
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if he was playing at a top team at the moment, I think he'd be held in much higher regard. Hopper is interesting one because a lot of Richmond fans aren't too keen on Hopper at the moment. I think they seem to think he's one of those sort of, gets the ball, doesn't do much with it sort of guys.
He was bad on the weekend.
Yeah, he wasn't great. But when you look at when you say he's, gets a lot of the ball, doesn't do much with it, it's tough to do it when you're not kicking to the greatest of forward lines either. So I can, it's tough. Everything's tougher in a weaker team.
Taranto's going to prey on a game like this, with the conditions. He is just going to get in there down and dirty. I think, Richmond are going to really struggle to find ascendancy anywhere on the ground. But I just think one thing that is obvious that they have to do is send Jack Ross into sort of a defensive role on Caleb Sarong and try and make Tim Taranto the main guy in there and let him get to work. And whatever happens in their forward 50, they can try and work it out from there. They can try and let their smalls get to work, the Lawlers, the Campbells, the Riolis. But if they can just try and make Tim Taranto that main guy and shut Caleb Sarong out of the game, I know we've got a deeper midfield now, but playing devil's advocate, that is their biggest sort of chance of getting ascendancy in the middle.
I've seen a lot of sort of pundits as well. I was just at Cal Twomey this morning actually saying he thinks Sam Lawler is Richmond's best player at the moment. I'm not really sure how much time Sam Lawler is spending on balls because he's listed in the forward pocket here. From what I saw on that game on Saturday, I thought he did spend a lot of time down forward. He's probably spent most of his time down forward, and we've actually seen he got referred to as Dusty pretty much every time he gets the ball. They think he's that sort of type of player.
Dwayne Russell keeps calling him Dusty Martin. Sorry, Dusty Lawler.
Dusty Lawler. And a lot of people say, don't put the pressure on him. But let's be real. He chose to wear number 4 and he's got a buzz cut. He's probably not helping himself.
Yeah.
And he probably enjoys the comparison, I think.
I'm just getting the CBA number up here. He had 31% of CBAs, which is a bit down to Carlson and the preseason game. So, he's still getting enough time in there. It's kind of a Murphy Reid-like split.
Yeah. So Wags take on Taranto. I don't think we need
player.
Yes, I don't think you need to worry about it. If Taranto's going to get overrun by, or their midfield's going to get overrun by ours, we know that. I don't think it's really worth putting too much thought into. You put Brayshaw or Strong next to Taranto in the stoppages, but other than that, I don't think you really.
I have it as an option, but I definitely wouldn't start the game with a Wags tag.
Wags tag, no. We need to get that as a we need to get a merch line of Wags tag.
We need to get a flag in the cheer squad, Wags tag.
Wags tag, or just a hashtag, maybe hashtag wax. No,
I reckon Freo Faithful would be taken off the internet if we started doing that.
yeah, we don't want that, do we?
Aaron, quickly, would you like to see a 60 to 70 point win considering the weather? It'd be very hard given the weather to put a really big score on the board, but maybe this is a game where Dudley just goes career high numbers, like 5 or 6.
He would love this sort of game, wouldn't he? 60 to 70 point win. Let's be real. In that sort of weather, we're not scoring more than 100. Let's be real. So we're going to restrict them to 30, 40 points. Maybe, I'm not too sure. As I said, you look at their forward line, not a lot of stars in there.
There's some nice small forwards, though. I really rate Seth Campbell. Maurice Rioli's come alive over the past sort of 18 months. Sam Lawler's only going to get better over time. Steely Green, I like as a player. So they've got some options there.
We'll get into that a bit later as well with the when we do our predicted changes. Rioli, I thought, was playing a bit more on the wing from what I saw. on that.
He pushed up, yeah.
He did, yeah. Yeah, he definitely did. So, 60 to 70 point wins probably a bit to him. But it's one of those games, we'll get into our prediction a little bit later, where I think you get the win by a comfortable amount and comfortable enough to never question the win or, think, we might lose this, and no injuries, and you probably take it in that sort of weather. We did play well in the weather last year, didn't we?
We did, yeah. We just need a comfortable enough win to go on the road trip in Adelaide against the Crows and Pies and think we can win both of these games. Like, if we put in a really unconvincing performance on Saturday, all of a sudden the mood ahead of that Adelaide game next Friday night has just completely changed. So we just need to see enough signs, and as you mentioned, most important thing, no injuries.
2 years ago, actually, we played in the wet against the Tigers at Optus. Remember that game? And we won that by 51, 16-9 to 7-12. And probably the most notable thing was that Shea Bolton was playing against us in that game. Completely tore us apart, didn't he? I think he kicked 4, 3 behind, so we should have had more. He took a couple nice. I think he took a Mark of the Year contender that game as well. So
he would have.
Did different squads, but we can, if similar result and taking the most damaging player from them, maybe we could see a bit of a bloodbath. But as I said, not a lot to talk about with this Richmond team. If we're being honest, like we're better in every sense of the ground. It's cool to play. Like I think Bolters and Floston are both pretty trustworthy players, but Floston should have had an All-Australian by now. But there's not a lot to look at, I think, when it comes.
Bolter and Floston are going to have a lot on their shoulders without Broad. I think this is the tall forwards are going to struggle. Like, maybe missing Nathan Broad this week isn't the biggest out for Richmond, given the weather. But overall, just with the makeup, surely this is a game where one of our underperforming key forwards could maybe get off the chain.
Just from an experience point of view as well, when you lose Nankervis, Broad and Lynch.
I think a Luke Trainer comes in and he's only played a handful of games. So
I think you would see Trainer come in. I think that's pretty likely. Potentially a guy like Gibcus comes back in as well. That'd be nice from his super coach. But other than that, not a lot to look at for the Tigers. So I think it's probably time we predict our changes now for this game. So no clear injuries. Well, not yet. Not to speak that into existence. But no clear injuries. So it's not like last week when we know that someone is coming out. The injury report came out yesterday, which had Young is 2 to 3 weeks, so he's not coming back for this week. Cox is still a test, and John is still a test as well. So I think we'll look at Cox and John first. We'll have to get the chat's opinion on this. So if Cox is fit, we play him over Oscar McDonald. There's no doubt about that. It's a case of if he's 80% fit, or maybe a little bit less than that, maybe you don't play him. But Jager O'Meara, though, is an interesting one, because if you are going to bring John, if John is 100% fit, do you bring him back? And if so, who do you bring him back for?
I'm not bringing him back. I think our fringe guys and where he would be playing, and those players and where he would be playing, are just playing too well at the moment. Like, Nathan O'Driscoll has a bit of versatility to go onto the half-forward flank and give us a bit of pace there. We've seen Chris Sherry on the half-forward flank, who, you can maybe switch a forward rotation with a midfield rotation, but there is no way you're dropping Sherry after that game. I'll quickly get our team up here just so we can have a better look. I think there'll be 2 changes. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Omac play again, just to give him a week. Like, Omac shut down Jacob Van Rooyen, was probably one of our best backs against Melbourne. So if we gave him another week against this Tigers forward line, I wouldn't be opposed to it, just to give Cox a better run in leading up to Adelaide next week. That being said, it'll be nice to give Brendan Cox some match fitness ahead of the game, and ahead of the road trip against some tough forward lines. So I would probably say Brendan Cox does come in for Oscar McDonald this week. That's what I'd pick. And I've gone a little bit out there. I think Nathan O'Driscoll is going to come out of the side. And I think that is how Brandon Walker is going to come back in. Noddy's been playing a bit of a versatile role. I think that Wags may just move up the ground a little bit. He played some stints at half forward in the preseason game against the Crows, and he played really well there. His ball usage going inside 50 was really nice, and it's sort of a similar role to what Noddy's been playing. So I think that's the way we're going to bring Walker back into the team. I just can't really see how Luke Ryan leaves the team for the rest of the year.
Yeah, if you're in the chat, guys, let us know what changes you would make for the weekend. So if you're up to me, I think Yeah, I'm a big Jago O'Meara fan. I think he's been probably one of our most overhated players.
Agreed.
But Erasmus Johnson, they have been very good to start the season. They haven't set the world on fire, but they've probably had a better start to the season than they've ever had. At the start of the season, we would have had John. Obviously, he was picked for Origin over those two guys. Is he a better player than those two? Maybe he is right now, but is it too harsh of a call? Maybe does that come into it? Does that sort of think he'd come back into it?
Yeah, it's too harsh to drop either one of those two. Those two are absolutely holding their spot. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think Raz is just an absolutely certified best 23 player, and Jono is getting close to that after his start to the season. If John comes back in, it won't be for those two. And I had John in my preseason best 23. Like, I love O'Meara. I agree with you. I think he's one of our most overhated players. I just don't see how he gets back into this team at this point in time without an injury or whatnot. He might come in for O'Driscoll, and maybe Walker does just switch back in for Luke Ryan. Like, you never know. I just don't think the coaching staff will do that, though.
Yeah, I could see a world. I was sort of before, even last week, I was thinking, okay, maybe next week Walker will come in for Warner potentially just because of the weather. But it's hard to drop Warner after the performance he had. I could still see it happening. I could still see them just from a pure game scenario perspective. I could still see Walker coming in for Warner. I do, like the idea of sort of maybe Warner pushes up the ground a little bit. Because instead of Walker, and then Walker sort of slots in where Warner is, because Brandon Walker, he's not the best ball user, but it's almost not going to matter. So
I think he's improved it in recent years. I think we've still got PTSD from that Pies final, and we just have in our mind that Walker isn't a good ball user, and I bought into that narrative for a while, but I think that round one game kind of reminded me, like, this is the Brandon Walker we know and love. There was one passage where he just dug it out of our back pocket onto the wing and laced up Amos with a 35-metre kick. Like, that is the Brandon Walker we've come to know and why we want him in our best team. So I think I like Walker pushing up still. I still think that's his best role, sort of a mix of lockdown and pushing up. And after what Carl Warner did on Cozzy on the weekend, I don't think you can take him out of that lockdown role.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It can be very hard to drop, but I do think they'll find a way to get Walker back in. So some training notes put out by Craig O'Donoghue on The West this morning, everyone's favourite newspaper. Sarcasm if you couldn't figure that out. Not much to go by. So Patrick Voss was apparently pretty quiet, which maybe is a good idea from him at this point. Matt Johnson supposedly went down clutching his right ankle. But he returned to the field 5 minutes later.
I didn't see that.
So not a lot to think there. So Cox and John moved freely. They completed training with the main group. I think John's he'll play waffle before he plays AFL. I think there's no doubt about that.
I can already envision John in the Peel jumper. Like he'll absolutely play Peel.
And probably the main talking point, Luke Jackson spent the session on the outer side of the oval with the rehab group after suffering a cork to his leg during the first half. Now it's one of those things he might not be fully fit this week, Luke Jackson, but I think there is a point where if a guy's 80% fit, you don't just go, we'll give you an extra week, because I think having them not play footy is going to take a lot of momentum out of them. Got a big game against Adelaide coming up after that. I think unless we do think it's a big risk, even if you play him,
it won't be a risk. It's a cork.
Yeah.
Like it's straight soreness. There's no structural damage or risks whatsoever. Like if he's playing a little bit sore, it's not like he's at risk of aggravating an injury. Like he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think it comes back. There are probably a lot of people who say that it's not a major game for us. Well, every game's a major game, but because it's Richmond. But I just think that you've got to. You can't take that sort of momentum out. You've got to build momentum with players. We're still early in the season. So I think, you absolutely have to play your best 23 regardless. Matty Johnson, just a sprain. It's interesting to take. So Voss face anything. Didn't consider that, and he probably will. I think there are going to be... it sort of happens already, but I think there's no doubt that going to see a lot of players getting more in the face of Patrick Voss trying to roll him up.
I think that's good though, because I don't want Voss to
Yeah.
lose his confidence. That I think Craig O'Donoghue was saying that he went a bit quiet in the training session the other day. I think in this training session that he wrote about, because they've got main training tomorrow. So yeah, if they get into his face, good for us, because we need him back up and about. We need someone to fire him up.
Another big talking point is because of that came out from the injury list yesterday, Hayden Young. So 2 to 3, or might have been 2 to 4 weeks, I think, on the injury list.
It was 2 to 3, I believe. Yeah.
2 to 3, yeah. So once he comes back, it's going to be interesting to see how we deal with that. Obviously, he gets in the best 23, there's no doubt about that. But is it? I'm starting to think potentially having him as the full-time midfielder, as our third midfielder. Maybe that has that potentially been the cause. There's a lot more work rate when you're playing in the midfield compared to where he's played recently. Is that potentially some of the cause of why he's having these sorts of injuries? And
we can't be giving him the Fife treatment.
What was it, sir?
We can't be giving him the Fife treatment at age 25.
No.
We can't just be sending him back or forward because his body's laying down on him. I just think we need to give him a little block. He'll come straight back into the team, obviously. And maybe we do play him forward a little bit more in his first few weeks back. But overall, he just is our third midfielder. And he's got the ability to be our second midfielder, first or second. He's just that good. So I still think we need him in the guts, if not full-time, at least 70, 80%. But I'm not opposed to sort of playing him forward a little bit more upon return. I think he'll probably be back for the Derby. I don't really see him playing any of the Adelaide games. I mean, this is a hammy. Freo were trying to put out best case scenario on their injury list, but at the end of the day, a hammy's a hammy. You're going to miss more than they put out. So, yeah, I reckon he'll be back for the Derby, and maybe that would be a nice game to sort of ease him back in the forward line.
Forward line, yeah, potentially. Maybe only give him 50% of time on ground as well, potentially be an option. Smaller forward line drop. Yeah, I feel like Amos is agile enough that it might not actually matter.
He's good at ground level. Out of all the criticism we give Amos, his ground ball skills isn't something we criticize him on.
All right, so yeah, everyone in the chat, if you want to put your predicted changes for the weekend, let us know. Also, your match prediction for the weekend, and we'll get into that now. So my first prediction, the game will go ahead.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. Because you think of, I was looking at this last night. If we can't play it on Saturday, there's no option. We don't have the same bye. Freo and Richmond, we only play each other once, so they can't just do a venue swap. And obviously, with the stupid 10-team finals, they can't do what they did with the Gold Coast Essendon game last year. Sort of have it midweek, just before the bye round, before the pre-finals bye.
They'll give us a 3-day break and just play it on a Wednesday night up in Cairns or something. So obvious.
Yeah. Another option. Well, Sunday the weather's going to be better, but if you play it Sunday, we have a 5-day break leading into the Adelaide game, and the Crows will have an 8-day break. So
it's not going to move. The AFL will just end up finding a solution if it gets called off, but it'll go ahead.
Yeah, just put some tarps over the roof or something. See if you can find one that's
exactly.
You can find those old
Bunnings at a sale.
Yeah, they'll have one that's big enough, surely.
I think so.
That'll be a solution. But yeah, I'm going to say Freo will get the win. Of course, I think I'm somewhere around the 8-goal margin. I think somewhere 45 to 50 points. I think is a decent amount for us. I think we could see a player like Swakowski have a good game. Actually, I think.
Yeah,
we've talked about Dudley. I think Swakowski might fly under the radar in that sort of mode. Maybe he'll pick up. Yeah, he doesn't score a lot. The forward that doesn't score, but might be a week that Swakowski grabs 3 goals. I think our defence is probably going to be more impressive than what our forward line is. I think we'll get the mix right this week. And they don't have a lot of players to shut down the Tigers, but I think we'll do it pretty well.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we'll win by around that 7-8 goal margin. Might be more, might be less, as long as we get the 4 points and have some good signs heading into the Crows game next week. I think that's all that matters. We just have to get through unscathed. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I'm not sure what the conditions are actually going to be like. Is it going to be pelting, full strength, just ridiculous rain where you can't even see the game on the broadcast? Or is it going to be sprinkle here and there, very windy, But, you can still play football. So I think the conditions are going to play a big part. If the conditions are a little bit milder than we're expecting, I think we can probably put a triple-figure score on the board. But if not, I just think our defence has to hold up and the rest will take care of itself.
Well, on the forecast, Friday is predicted to be much worse weather than Saturday. So once we sort of see what happens on Friday, well, for those of us that are here living in Perth, once we see what's happening on Friday, I think we'll probably know more about what's going to happen on the Saturday. But yeah, we'll both be there, I presume. And probably gonna probably halfway through the second term, we'll probably think, why the hell are we at this game?
It's gonna be horrible.
Could have watched this in front of the heater.
But it won't be that cold though. It will just be the rain and wind. That it would just be ridiculous.
But, the wind though can make it. I remember that Carlton game last season. The wind.
That was the one game I didn't attend because I was sick. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. The wind was, I reckon, made it about 10 degrees cooler. The old feels like temperature would have been about 10 degrees cooler.
It was like XG in soccer. Who cares about it?
Yeah, it's completely made up metric. But
well, we are both going to the game on Saturday, and one thing we haven't spoken about is the new match day experience.
That's right. Yes.
So
a few new things.
We had it introduced to us last Saturday against Melbourne. I'll go to you for your thoughts on these first. Rank these three things for me. New goal songs, Bagpipes, Mo Driscoll MC.
Oh, you asked me. Okay, all right. We're going to put the new Bagpipes at 1.
I agree.
Awesome. That's awesome. I mean, We Will Rock You was great, but the fact that we can have some Bon Scott ACDC era from obviously Bon Scott. Well, we unfortunately wouldn't know who the Dockers were. Passed away before we were founded, but we like to claim him. We like to think he's a Dockers fan. Throw the scarf around the statue every time we do something good. That's seen that happen a fair few times, but yeah, absolutely love that. Number 2, I'm going to put Emma O'Driscoll as the MC. Of course, we had Ange Stannett last season. I'm not sure. Maybe Ange Stannett is still doing it, and maybe Emma's filling in. I'm not too sure, but great that we get some AFLW players on the MC. And Emma O'Driscoll's kind of doing everything around the club: player, podcast host, MC. Next thing's probably going to be taking a call from me, membership or something. So. Doing that many jobs around the club, but I'm going to put that at 2. Goal songs at 3. Better. I still think it'd be better if each player had their own song though.
I agree. I do have a fear that our players just have the worst music taste of all time. Like I'm not a Fred Again hater, but if we hear Fred Again 15 times a game, what's the point in variety? Like if Tracy's kicking 10 and he's got the worst goal song of all time, then it's probably not ideal. So I'd agree. If our players had a good music taste, which I don't trust them, I'll be honest. Like, I trust them as footballers. I don't trust their music taste.
Do trust Alex Pearce, though. I think, not that we're going to hear Alex Pearce's goal song too often.
He gets some old nerves up.
Yeah. So we're not going to hear that too often, unfortunately. But, be up for that. I was at the Gabba last year for a game, actually. And I've got to say, Daddy Cool becomes a bit annoying the fourth time you hear it. It's Kai Loman's goal song, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's a good goal song.
It's a good one, yeah. Sweet Caroline. We don't have Sweet Caroline. That's the good news. But what did we have? So we're trying. We had
Thunderstruck.
Sandman. Yeah, Thunderstruck was
Sandman. We had Rock the Casbah.
That's right.
No Tame Impala, which I was a bit disappointed about.
Yeah.
That was on the vote, but didn't get in. We had a few more. I've just we might have only rolled through 3 or 4. We might get some new ones this weekend. But first world problems.
Yeah, but look, much better. I remember last season they put out the I think they had Youngie, Pearce, and might be Brayshaw as well. It's a video with Pete Corelli and explaining the new game day changes. And I remember watching that and thinking, I'm not going to game this season.
That video was famous on this channel. Like the hating young, trying to sing along to Viva La Vida is one of the all-time great clips that Fremantle's media team has ever released. It's incredible. Just quickly back to the start of this stream. We had a chat. If you went to the game on Saturday, was that the loudest you've ever heard Optus pre-game when they do the 60 seconds before the ball up? It was. It was just so loud. It was ridiculous. I thought it was a grand final.
yeah, I mean, that's the good thing about a new season, and everyone's just pumped to be back at the footy.
But it's a long way to the top pre-game was just peace.
It's just perfect, isn't it? Because I mean, I wasn't a member back in those days, but I'm sure you were there when we had Purple Rain pre-game.
Yeah, it was only like 1 year.
Was
I don't know why we stopped it. I liked Purple Rain.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Purple Haze if we had to have a song that had purple in it. Jimi Hendrix would have been all right.
Purple by Wonder Horse. That's a tune.
Was it so?
Purple by Wonder Horse. That's a tune. Maybe a bit niche.
Yeah, maybe. I'm
just concerned, like, if our marketing team or whoever organises the match days sends the bagpipe man up on the roof in a cyclone this Saturday, that would be a little bit disrespectful. I mean, I'd love it, but geez, it'd be gutsy.
I think past rain games, they've sort of had him in the sort of just underneath the scoreboard. I think they've had rocker on the roof. He's sort of sat underneath there, hasn't gone onto the roof. But I think last year there was a game where it was raining and he was definitely up there. So I don't think we'll see rocker on the roof this Saturday. It's just strange to come back to the weather. Like, I remember when the fixture came out, and I saw 28th of March, Saturday, 1:15 p.m. I'm like, right, get the sunscreen out.
Yeah, it's gonna be
basically just get
it's
whatever.
Sweltering.
Pretend it's the cricket, and that's how we're gonna have to deal with the weather. And it's gone the complete opposite. So looking forward to 2 home games in a row, and hopefully getting our second win on the board. But approaching an hour now on the stream. Any final words from you, Noah?
Well, I will just quickly get through these last 3 chats before we wrap it up. When have these forecasts ever been right with the big storms? Last few, there's been next to nothing, just windy. Well, it'd be a good point if there wasn't a cyclone. I think the cyclone really changes things here, because Perth, I can't really remember if we've had a cyclone before. Like, this is first in a lifetime thing for a lot of us, I think. So, yeah, I think it's fair to be concerned.
To that point, though, about it sort of ended up being nothing. I remember 4 years ago, 2022, when we were horrible in the rain. We had a game coming up against the Hawks. It was projected to be about, raining all day. And we were thinking, this is over. We're going to lose this game. There wasn't a drop throughout the whole game. So I think we'd fully, we turned the sprinklers on at training that week. Well, not a drop of rain throughout the whole game. I think they only won by about 8 points in the end, and the Hawks were, bottom of the table at the time. So, I sort of get that point. Thunderhorse from
Thunderhorse by Metalocopit. What the? I can't say that word.
Yeah, I'll see what I'd be up for if instead of Voss's goal song. This is getting a bit off the rails, but I'm sure anyone in the chat that watches Brisbane Broncos in the NRL, when they score a try, they get Buck the Bronco out. They get an actual horse to just
an actual horse
around the sideline. Yeah, they get an actual horse. I say we get an actual horse.
An actual horse when Pat Voss kicks a goal. That would be ridiculous. If there's a pony on the sideline and they just whip Pat Voss up onto the pony after every goal, that would be all time. But I think we're speaking in hypotheticals here. I think we will win and win well. I'm just getting West Coast game a few years back vibes, where the opposition starts strong and we're playing catch up all day. I think we're a better team. We finished 14th that year. We're a better team than since then. And Wharfie time, baby. I think that's a good way to end it.
Baby, without the H. Nice. And go to the thing about the West Coast game. Remember, West Coast they're always up for a derby.
They will be this year as well.
It was round at that game, 2024. That presumably that's the one that they're referring to. That was round 6, and it was still their grand final. So
exactly.
Hard to take much out of that one.
All right, I reckon we'll wrap that up there. Thank you, Jordan, yet again. I'll be back on next week here on Wharfie Wednesdays, while Zac is going through 7 weeks worth of bintangs in 7 days. For the rest of the week, I'll be live over on Tigercast from 5:30 tomorrow night over on the Tigercast YouTube channel if you want to go and give him some support. The teams will be from tomorrow at 3:30 here on Freo Faithful. Preview will be out on Friday with me. If you're not going to the game, there'll be a watch party with Druzy on Saturday that you can watch the game. It's the microwave going off in your room.
There's a charger going out.
What type of charge is that? And then fan cams after the game, obviously. And then, that's basically it for the week. So stay on top of all that. You'll see Jordan and I again next week here on Wharfie Wednesdays. And thank you all for watching, and up the Dockers.